Oh, did it just start? How'd that happen? Okay. Um, I'm just pulling up the slides. Oh, so besides Kyle, because you've been doing real estate for a couple years, has anybody gone on a buyer appointment, a listing appointment, or had a transaction? No, that's okay. It's all good. It's all good stuff. Sorry, what's your name?
Alberto.
Alberto, nice to meet you. How long have you been an agent? Oh, cool. And how long have you been at KW? Cool. And have you, so Kyle's been an agent for a couple years, just kind of learning the ways of KW right now. And you didn't start this Ignite cycle, right? Because I think I met you a month ago. Okay. Yeah.
I didn't want to wait a month, 6 weeks to start.
Yeah. Well, okay, so interestingly enough, like this is the last class of the cycle. So I would say that out of all the classes, it's a little bit more less concrete actions for you to take as you're going, or maybe not, just more a little bit more softer, like mindset, what's your plans, what do you want to create in your future, sort of a thing. Um, have has anybody gone through all the Ignite classes? This is just a lender I need to respond to. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Thought we had this going. Wasn't he playing with this? Okay. So just for example, if you guys haven't been going to Ignite, like this last several, like the last 6 prior to this one is literally stuff like the nuts and bolts of how to work with buyers, how to win the buyer, how to win the seller, what you do when you're actually working with them, make and receive offers, negotiate offers, get to the close. A lot of this, I just overheard a conversation between you and Cameron. A lot of the things, like never be afraid to just like, you've talking to somebody and they do want to do something in real estate, they want to buy a house or sell a house, just set that appointment for 3 days and call Cameron and get ready. Like there's a lot you can do to just be prepared and ready to rock and roll. With the understanding that you're going to have Cameron and the team here helping you every step of the way. So, because even those classes, you're going to walk away with like, okay, I'm going to prepare in these ways, but it's still going to be like, even if you do everything to study and prepare and do everything they tell you to do, you're still going to have that feeling when you set your appointment of like, oh crap, now how do I actually put everything together and what's most important and what should I say, all those things. Okay, so today we're talking about set your sights on a big future. How you think matters. How you think in the beginning really matters. Like, hang on. Don't know why this keeps on. Does that mean anything to you guys? Have you seen that applied anywhere else in your life? Like blocking it. No, that's fine. Okay, so that really is kind of a conversation about mindset and how you think. What do you believe your potential is in this business? Do you feel like, oh, I'm going to be a great success, but first I have to just ABC? Or do you have limiting beliefs about yourself. That's one of our 6 personal perspectives, right? Remove your limiting beliefs. How many of you guys just in your short time have encountered limiting beliefs about yourself? Yes. So, 2 things that we had a guy who joined our team a few years ago, and he'd come to the meetings and talk about number 2, are you aligned with your heart? And he just would say over and over again, I know if I'm just aligned with, if I've just aligned myself with success, then I'll have success. Okay. And I call that the thinking method to success. Like if I just think about being successful enough, then it's just bound to like be attracted to me in my life. But the other piece is, are you ready to take action? So yes, you absolutely have to have that alignment. Here, let me move my stuff over here so that you can actually see. I can see you trying to like get past me. So thinking over and over and over again about, oh, this is truly who I am. This is truly what I want to do. I'm going to align myself with success, but never actually talking to anybody about real estate. That guy ended up not doing a single deal in real estate. He kept his license for referral reasons. Like he wanted to refer to me, and he would call me about every 6 months and he'd say, hey, I think I have somebody I want to send to you. Would you be willing to pay a referral? And I was always like, yes, of course. And they would actually never be able to have that conversation. He's still, even just like thinking, I'll do the referral business, all he was doing was aligning himself with success. Which isn't truly aligning. If you're not getting to the point where you're going to put yourself out of your comfort zone, that's the only place that growth is going to happen, right? So yes, mindset matters. Figuring out why you're in the business and your reasoning, oh, that's the next slide. I think I keep going the wrong direction. Okay, just kidding. Have you guys seen these before? You should, I think you guys are supposed to go over them on every class. So these are a really great place to start when it comes to when people are saying work on your mindset. Are you truly adopting these? So let's just go through them rapid fire. Let's just read one, go around. Will you start, Alex? Actually, read the first 2.
One win or no deal, integrity.
Okay, Alberto. Awesome. Nicole.
Patience first to understand creativity, ideas before results.
Perfect. Adrian. Awesome. Kyle, finish this out.
For all success.
Are any of those like hard for you to understand what they mean and why they're going to help with your mindset? I have a couple personal favorites that I'm just going to soapbox for a second. And one of those is teamwork, that everyone achieves more. Here at this brokerage, like, and I don't know if this is true at every Keller Williams, but I've been here for 9 years and I can count very few times where I felt like somebody wasn't rooting for me. Being in an environment where people want your success, they want to be around successful people. So there's no reason for them to, and adopting that in yourself, knowing that you can honestly say, I'm so happy that that person that started the same as me is taking off. Like maybe I don't have that exact same trajectory in the start, but I know that I can, on my own path, have that same success. But rooting for people to not succeed, like having a different mindset is not going to help you succeed in the end. Okay. So nobody was on, has anybody been to the class that's about value proposition? Who's done any other, does anybody else have like a sales background? Do you work for Delta? What's Delta? Do you know what a value proposition is? It's okay. Adrian, you raised your hands. Okay. Yeah, for sure. Okay.
So your
Yeah.
value proposition is, you've got to truly believe that you can help them. And I know for me starting out, it's like, why the heck would they want to work with me? I know a little bit, but in a lot, but I didn't feel competent, maybe is a good way to put it. Like, I knew what was going on. I passed the test, right? I have my license, but it was easy to feel like I was an imposter a little bit starting out, just being new. And so for me, and it took me several months, to be quite honest, to really figure out my value proposition. And I gained a lot of confidence once I closed that first deal.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I really can do this. And that continues to grow as I do more and more deals. Every one of my deals has been so different from the previous. I've done raw land. I've done where a seller was closing from halfway around the world. I've done townhouses with HOA. I've done trust sales from, yeah. And so like, it's kind of fun to see all those difference, and it's kind of tricky because I have to dig in and learn because they're all a little bit different than just a cookie cutter, the same thing over and over again. But, once I figured out that I have value proposition because I've done these different things and it's given me experience, it's given me a lot more confidence so that when I am talking to somebody, I'm confident to them. It's
Yeah.
like, well, I can help you. It's like, no, I know I can help you. And that has had a huge impact for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two pieces in my mind for value proposition. The first is just knowing your value, knowing that you have a lot to offer somebody with a real estate need. The second is knowing how to succinctly communicate your value proposition to somebody in a way that you feel really aligns. And you can just confidently get those words to form and come out of your mouth in a way that makes you feel confident. So when I teach the value proposition class, we go through all the things that make you value, like that give you value in the industry. But I make everybody text me their written value proposition at the end because it's amazing how many people could sit there and talk about it for, we can sit in a class for an hour and talk about it and talk about how experience, like Kyle was talking, knowledge, market expertise, all these things go in to the value that you bring to your clients, but not being able to put it in, because there's other things that are unique to you. Like if you've had a background in manufactured homes, there are a ton of agents that have been like very experienced and done a ton of deals that have never done a manufactured home deal. They like don't know the first thing about what needs to happen through that. Like that's unique, something that will, no matter where real estate takes you, you're always going to have a background that's like, oh yeah, I understand more than the average agent what it takes to buy a manufactured home or to sell a manufactured home, right? So I think I've had so many, because I'm just going to pull on my Google Docs for just a second. If I can find it. Okay, for example, here's one. So this is like something someone would actually say to their, like whether they're at a listing or a buyer appointment, or somebody saying, what the heck do you do? Okay, so maybe they're paraphrasing, but this is a written one. As a real estate expert, my primary goal is to simplify the buying and selling process for you. I handle the complex work so you can save time, money, and energy. Whether you're buying your first home, investing in a property, or selling to move on to the next chapter, I will make the experience rewarding, seamless, and stress-free, allowing you to focus on what truly matters. Like, how different is that to hear, put your hat on and be on the consumer side when, like, that's not about like why you're better than anybody else, but it's just a really succinct way to communicate why they should hire you. Why should they hire you? There's plenty of reasons, but if you can't communicate them, then you're gonna miss out on opportunity. So, and really, am I confident sharing my value proposition? If you can just get it written down in a way that you're not going to say it that way every time, but the process of writing it down, it's hard. It's not something that you want to just plug into ChatGPT. You want it to come from like your soul, basically. I can like send you guys a few examples if you guys want. Another one is, oh, I protect people's wealth in real estate. I help people protect their wealth in real estate by aiding families in the transfer of wealth, in the protecting of their assets, and the accumulation of valuable assets in real estate. Like, depending on who you want to work with in the business too, you might tweak it slightly differently. But I have several examples. I go like the wrong direction every time. Okay, all these things, like I said, this is supposed to be the end of Ignite. So, and I noticed that we have a lot of people that were maybe newer to Ignite, maybe didn't come. Plus, it's really hard to hit every session, even when you're like there for the whole cycle. But really, like, the more you can get in touch with what your vision is for your life and what real estate is the vehicle. I'm yet to meet a person that like their ultimate goal in life is like, I want to sell 1,000 houses in real estate. Like, and that's what I've wanted to do since I was a 5-year-old kid, right? Like nobody, the real estate is always a vehicle to get to your other life goals, right? So what is that? Do you have a clear vision? Are you starting to see what's capable and think a little bit bigger in your life? Oh, guys, every time. All right, who hasn't read for me? Cody.
One thing all high achievers have in common is they are working for a big why. The big why is about having a purpose, a mission, or a need that in turn gives you fulfillment.
Okay, who knows who's written down a big why? Same question. Like, who understands based on that what the big why is, the reason you're going to show up and do something hard even when you don't want to?
My big why is just I want to take care of the family and make sure that we're not only happy, but we have enough money to do basically anything we want. So like I can take care of them financially. And then how I have a real map of how I'm going to do that too. But my big why is I just want to take care of my family.
Awesome. The more you can like even there's a saying that people will say here a lot, and that's clarity is power. The more you like that's such a good big why. The more you can like say, what does taking care of my family look like, right? In the details of like, does that look like going on a family vacation every year? Does that look like having a specific number of money yeah. But a number in your bank account that means like you guys have options in your future, that you're able to do this when you, I'm older than probably everybody, Kyle. Maybe we're the same age. Yeah. No, probably not. What was your name? I'm so sorry. We talked for a second when you came in here, but Ashley, no. And how long have you been in the business? Sweet. Hey, all this stuff, like I've been in the business for a while and I still like come back to my big why about once a year. And I say like, is there any more clarity I can gain for this? Same thing with the vision of your life. The more specific you are, the better. And it's not even a matter, sometimes you're thinking as big as you can, but like put in the details, put in the like, oh, wouldn't this be nice? Oh, and it would be even nicer if like all those details for your life. Okay. Do you guys want a couple examples of big whys? Oh no, didn't bring my charger in because I thought I was so fully charged. Um, we might not have this for much longer, so we might as well pull it up real quick. So this might be like, okay, my big why, this is not mine. This is somebody else's. My big why is to be empowered by true financial security. I am driven by an unwavering determination to never give up on my dreams. And it's this determination that gives me the high energy calm, that's all supposed to be one word, to be my foundation in creating a spectacular business and big life on my own. My daily routine allows me confidence and faith in myself to turn aspirations into changing reality, full of travel, experiencing life with my family, and a retirement that excites me. This is somebody I think that person is like in their 50s and kind of embarking like on a new career. And so a lot of like unknowns, but also like really connecting with maybe like a future she didn't think was possible for herself. And that can be difficult, right? All right. I'm not taking my finger off the right button again. Okay. Did we go over that, you guys? Did I already say all that? Okay, so Nicole's shaking her head no. So the bigger you make your big why, the more powerful it's going to be. And then, of course, it's the reason you get up every day and do what you do. If your big why is strong enough, then when it comes time to do the things that you don't want to do, you're going to realize wanting to do it is not prerequisite to actually doing it. Doing it is what's going to get me what I want. So when I started in the business, I had 3 kids that were elementary school aged. And my older 2 kids, so my husband was working at a job and I had a career that I had taken a couple years break from that I just could not see myself going back to. You've probably been there. And my dad owned a title company growing up. So I saw a lot of realtors on the back end on closing day, on like frantic phone calls because they'd forgotten to order title and now they were going under contract or whatever. Like this is back in a long time ago. Like we weren't emailing yet when I grew up working there, right? So it's a whole different world, but I saw like real estate agents and I was like, could I do real estate? Could I actually be one of the few that I saw that isn't just running around town like a crazy person all the time? Because that's like the impression I had. So when I got started, my goal was to be able to earn enough money to like give my kids like a trip to Disneyland and buy them American Girl dolls for Christmas. These were just like things that weren't in my budget. In fact, I remember secretly opening a credit card to get my kids American Girl dolls for Christmas because my husband didn't see the point. And so I did a naughty and opened a credit card secretly. And also took them to Disneyland. But like, I just was like, this is crazy. Like I can earn enough money that I have a budget to get my kids the Christmas presents or whatever. And then I got into where you guys are sitting right now. And I just was like, this is as big as I could think at the time. And I remember my kids were in a language immersion program in elementary school. They were learning German. And I just thought, wouldn't it be amazing to take my whole family to Germany? And like, that was on my vision board for so long. But what's crazy to me is when we actually took our kids to Germany and Switzerland 2 years ago, it was so easy. Does that make sense? Like, I was just like, whoa, that's as big as I could think. Like, I actually paid for my parents to come with us so they could like travel with their grandkids. And I just remember thinking like, why didn't I like put some more specifics in there? Like, I because it just wasn't as crazy once I was there and once I was ready. Like, it's powerful, and it was a very emotional experience for me when we did go, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually able to do this now that my kids are the right age, that I wanted them to be a bit older to do it, and was able to execute on that. So you have, in your life, you're going to have like little experiences that illustrate that. Like, you're like, just test it, test this theory, put something out there that you want, and just be like, I'm going to go get that. And once you do it once, some of you maybe already have, like, it didn't take you until you're 40 to like learn this lesson, but test the theory, get big on your vision, create that big why, make that vision part of your big why, and it really will, you'll be able to get it bigger and bigger and bigger every time you see it happen for yourself. Oh, the wrong way, guys. Okay, now we get to pause and hear from you. Any ahas that you're having or anything that sticks out to you. And I do not know what's wrong with my voice this morning. It's really craggy.
So some of my more like specific ones, I want to be financially free enough to pretty much go on vacation anywhere in the world. I've always wanted to do travel and see the world and get outside of, I used to live in Arizona for forever, so it's like that I live there close enough there. That's one of the main things, and also just being free to enjoy my kids' life. When I was playing football in high school, gonna get deep here. When I was playing football in high school, my dad like never came to the games because he was either always working late or he was not there to watch the games, which kind of sucked a little bit, but it was more special when he did show up. I just wanted to be able to be there for my kids no matter what they need or whatever they're doing.
Yeah, that's so cool. Do you have children? Okay, but it's definitely something you're like, you have the ability to design your life. And I think especially a generation ago, people, it was life by default. It was whatever job you fell into. And then from there, were you able to get time off to go to the games or not? And you didn't really have an option outside of that. You didn't. I'm always learning from, I'm like probably in between your dad's generation and yours, right? But like these young, I'm constantly learning like from this, what generation do you say you're in? Gen Y?
I think the latest one is Gen.
It doesn't matter. I'm constantly learning from people in their 20s on like, you really can design your life, and people are learning that younger and younger. Okay, any other ahas? I don't want to move on.
But I think one of my big whys is that I just want to be successful and have a career. Like, I don't want to work a 9 to 5 regular job my entire life. I don't live paycheck to paycheck, but I like probably every human, I have debt. I just want to be financially stable. And then I also want to have like children and be able to provide for my children, have that flexibility, get to go to their sports games, just get to spend time with them. I don't want to have to feel like I'm just constantly working just to be able to provide for my family. And then just having like the career as like myself, I want to feel successful. I want to feel like I did something with my life and not like just had a normal job like everyone else.
Mhm.
And I'm very like passionate about helping people, and buying a house is a huge step for anybody, whether it's their first house or their second or an investment property. Like I think it's something I'm going to be very passionate about, and a career that I'm going to be happy to be in instead of being unhappy at just a regular.
Yeah. Love that. So from here, and you're gonna probably go to an Ignite class where they talk about just Big Why for the whole time, but writing down whatever it is, put it on a Google Doc so you can revisit it and edit it every time. you get the opportunity or become inspired by something or just get more clarity on the words you want to use, because the words you use are powerful. Does anybody else have any ahas? Kyle?
I just put vision board planning on my wife's calendar for tomorrow, so we're sitting down. I could probably tell you what's on it, but we're gonna sit down and make the freaking list, so we'll grab lunch tomorrow. I just threw it on a calendar, like 2 minutes ago. Yeah, we're gonna sit down and actually write it down and print out papers and do it.
Mhm.
Pretty good idea, like ethereally,
Mhm.
but I think there's a lot of power in putting it on paper and, tape it on the inside of the closet door, so every morning when I'm getting dressed, we see it. So.
Yeah.
I think, some of that's 2025 goals, and there will be a couple that are, 2026, et cetera, but there's 3 or 4 that I think just need to be written down in our face every day. And like you said, putting it out there where you're seeing it every day is really important.
Yeah. One of the classes I went to last week at Family Reunion was, they didn't talk about this the whole time, but it was reverse engineering your goals. So thinking big for where you want to be in 5 years. I'm not sure that Gary Keller originally said this, he may have adopted this, but most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a year and underestimate what they can accomplish in 5 years. So thinking big for like, this is where I want to be in 5 years. Okay, what's halfway? I want to be there in 3 years. Okay, and now chunk that down further. What do I want to accomplish? And you chunk it down so far that you should know, based on where you want to be in 5 years, what you should be doing today. Okay. Alex, do you have any ahas?
I like how it said, one of them said, are you aligned with the heart?
Mm-hmm.
The heart is a big direction of where you're going in life.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like something like heart, something that our mind fills it with fear. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And you really can't like, you cannot have those 2 thoughts at the same time. Like you can't hold fear and like true belief that you're able to accomplish these goals at the same moment, because without cognitive dissonance, right? I'm so sick of the sound of me clearing my throat in a microphone. Oh dear. But my voice. Okay, anybody else before we move on? Okay. All right, so next is talking about have a smart money business. So let's start. We're gonna read each of these just rapid fire, or dang it, I forgot your name in the back. Ashley, do you want to just read the first 3 and then we'll bounce over to Kyle?
Write and negotiate contracts, coordinate the sales and closing, manage the money.
I really like that 2 through 6 can be included in your value proposition right there. I mean, these are things that people, 4, 5, 6, people really don't, if they're trying to do it themselves and they've never done it themselves, they're putting themselves at risk, right? Yeah.
That slide is awesome. You mind going back? Click the one. Yeah, there you go.
You're like, click the one you keep clicking when you're trying to go forward.
I was trying to figure out what do I need to do, and it was all lead gen. And it was like, yeah, I think I, learned how to use the MLS, and you kind of learn those steps as you go through it with the first couple of clients. But seeing these, I just took a picture of it, but seeing these 6 steps, and it's like, okay, not only is it like, how do you walk your clients through it, but this tells me what I need to be learning how to do to be a good agent. I'll be honest, presenting to buyers and sellers to get agreement, that was not even on my radar, right? It's like, oh, lead gen, find people, and I'll talk to them. And So it wasn't like its own separate step to me. It was like, yeah, I'll figure that out when I get there. But now that I know that that's a step, it's something that I can practice, I can look into. Honestly, part of the reason I came to Keller Williams is that presentation for a listing
Mhm.
is awesome. I love at the bottom of it, and it's out on is the hot sheets or something like that, it's one of the documents that's pre-filled out, you put your name and your logo on it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
At the bottom, I remember for me, one of the trickiest part of the conversation of a listing is how much are they gonna pay? And I love that at the bottom of that sheet, it has 3%, 2%, 1%, and they kind of get to choose their own adventure, choose the level of service that they want.
Commission menu.
That is the amount of commission they're going to pay you as the listing agent. But having that already built, so you can sit down and practice, hey, this is what I want to talk through. Let's talk, obviously about
Yeah.
the exclusive right to sell agreement, et cetera. But having that and letting them kind of choose. Once I know that that's a step, I can practice that. So those words come easily to me and I can articulate my value prop to them. But having some of that documentation is really helpful. My own brokerage, I had to build everything from scratch.
Yeah.
Right? I was totally on my own, which is great in some ways. But on the other hand, it's kind of nice having that template already built that I could just tweak and adjust. And now I can practice that because I know it's one of those steps.
Yeah.
Showing houses is great, but it's such a small percentage of what we actually do.
And it's such a huge percentage of what the average consumer thinks that you're doing. But I love how you present to buyers and sellers to get agreements. Like you are not trying to like verbally jujitsu them into doing something they don't want to do. They verbalize their goal to you, and now they may be getting in their own way, right? Like, because it's hard. You did sales? Were you like doorstep sales? So there's just like little things, like so many little things to like level up, like especially like I love answering the door when they knock on my door because I'm just like, oh, my sales training for the day, because these guys have to be like, they have to have like that value proposition or that hook somehow to get somebody who does not want to be answering their door to actually talk to them. It changed. I used to do it for phone calls. I don't anymore. But like, if they like literally talk to somebody because they had like some intense level of like, this is how you do it, man. Like get up there and try saying this and it's a lot of trial and error, I would say. Like sometimes they're just like, I'm just going to try this for the next few doors and see if anybody like, just to see what works and what doesn't. But you have that, and it's better to not do trial and error when it's like somebody's house sale or somebody like you want to have a few things rehearsed and ready to rock and roll, or how do I present this, or how do I say that? The other thing I was going to say is, are you guys familiar with the 80-20 rule over there? It's one of the other 6 personal perspectives of Keller Williams. A little bit. So our 20% of the things that we do are going to lead to 80% of our results. So does anybody know what, as a sales agent, somebody who's in production, what are your 20% activities? Do you guys know the answer?
I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Well, it's not my thought. This is from MREA, but it is lead generation, negotiate contracts, going on appointments, and the fourth one that people forget, I don't know how we say this now, we're not supposed to say scripts, but the fourth is scripts and role play. It's practicing what you're going to say. That is considered one of your 20% activities. I should just be able to tell you what page of MRE on. Lead generation, going on appointments, negotiating contracts. And what was the fourth, everybody? Okay. All right, where do your commissions dollars go? So I thought, hang on. Okay, so couple things. I actually wonder if they're gonna update this, because the other agent, we're not, if you're getting a 6% listing, then most often you're planning to give a portion of that commission. I feel like the way our listing agreements are spelled out is just a little bit differently now. So let's just talk in the frame of like, the framework of, if you're the listing agent, what did you negotiate as your fee as the listing agent? So got expenses, right? You've got app to pay to the market center. You've got your business expenses, and then you have taxes. And then from there, your take home pay. I don't think you could see, but that dollar was getting cut. Right? So is this pretty small for you guys to see? Can you read the numbers? So you can read, your eyes are like better than mine. So it's got two, I want you guys to just study this, and then which one is financially sound or unsound as you look at that. Second one. So, on the second one, the big difference comes right here after, like, this is going right into the wallet. The 5760 is what she's putting in her wallet. And here, 2419. It's a big difference. So from a $9,000 commission, 2419 is what she's spending, okay? So that's setting aside money for taxes, right here. And, oh, here too, sorry guys. So this is setting aside money to put back into the business, right? So you get your first closing, some,
Percentage, is there a way to calculate, like, how much you have to pay tax off of the certain commission you got, like, how is that determined?
yeah, so you're probably gonna want to, I'm not the person to answer that question. I just do whatever my accountant tells me to do. But yeah, there is a way to know. It depends on your tax bracket. It depends on your deductions. Yeah, like, so it's cheap to set up an LLC. It's easy. I actually did it myself the first time. I don't anymore. But when you have somebody under contract the first time, it's probably put it on your to-do list to have a conversation about what to do to set up and to do things that are financially sound with that first commission that you earn, right? You have some upfront expenses that you want to pay yourself back from as far as your business, right? You paid for dues, licensing. Okay, thank you. So keeping track of every business expense that you have made, like if you buy a computer, you want to start keeping track of your cell phone bill. These are now going to become business expenses. There's actually a really good class offered. I can't remember what it's called. I'm taking it next month though. I think it's called Profit Camp, where it basically tells you how to do, like helps you get better at doing your books, where at whatever level you are. So it might be a little bit more than like you want for the basics of just learning how to do your profit loss and setting up the way you want to get paid. But as soon as you have an LLC, you can go open a business bank account, and it's not hard. Money is good for the good it can do. Who's aware of like their money mindset? Is it something you guys think about? Who grew up with certain beliefs around money that now you might be challenging a little bit? I heard you say something. Can I pick on you just a tiny bit? Yeah. When you were kind of sharing a little bit of your big why, I think you said something to the effect of, I have some debt. I think every human has some debt, right? It's just an interesting thing, and it's an interesting awareness. I'm going to tell you something crazy. Not every human lives with debt. Like some people don't. And it's sometimes, like for me, the way I grew up, I remember the first time I was like, what? They're buying with cash? Like, but they're my age. Like, what? And I was older then. This should not have been that much of a shocker. But it was for me, just because I hadn't interacted with people that had. So that's part of the benefit of coming to somewhere where Keller Williams, you have the opportunity to learn from people who've been very, very disciplined and very good with their money, right? I'm always learning from them. I remember having a conversation with my husband about whether or not we should get a new car. And I was like, oh, we're so close to having this car paid off. I don't want to have a car payment. And he said, we're going to have a car payment our whole life. That's just how people live. My parents have never not had a car payment. And I was like, what? Like, I don't know if my parents have ever had a car payment. Like, it's something to spend a year on. I mean, it's something that if you want to work on your relationship with money, it will take time, but it's worth examining your beliefs about money. Money is the root of all evil. Who's heard that? It's in the Bible, I think, right? Is it money is the root of all evil? That's what but people go and say. They say money is the root of all evil, and they said that at a time that you may have heard it, and then you've been like, oh, it's bad to have money. I'm going to get in my way. I'm not going to think about it mentally, but subconsciously, I'm going to be afraid of what money might do to me, right? Money doesn't grow on trees. Did your guys' dad ever say that to you when you're at the store with him and you wanted that new bike for me? Money doesn't grow on trees, Sally. Sorry. Okay, what about this one? Making money is fun and easy. Who believes that? I do. I say that to myself all the time. Making money is fun and easy. Does anybody believe that? I 1000% believe that, and you can too. And it makes a difference. So this is some really basic flow of money. Income is what goes in, expenses, what goes out. This is your first lesson on profit and loss. And then the profit is what's left, okay? So the number, when you're thinking about how much money you want to make in your first year in real estate, your second year, your next 5 years, you want to be making that goal based on your take-home pay, not your gross pay, right? So what's your goal on profit? As far as expenses go, how can I minimize expenses to maximize net income? And how many homes do I have to sell? There's all sorts of, you can make a study of this for this will be a big piece of what you study. Do you guys have any questions or want to dive more into any of that? Okay. Every sale has a cost. You've got commissions, you've got royalties to KWRI. And then there's going to sometimes be referral fees. Every month, there's a little something that comes out of my bank account to Keller Williams for technology or copies or something like that. The nice thing about this, especially as we go over onto operating expenses, which would be like your office rent, your car, your having a transaction coordinator, getting your first administrative staff member, insurance, professional services like an accountant, marketing, advertising, like if you need a new computer or something to do your job better, keeping your education up, there's cost associated with that. A lot of those are things that you maybe they're like a cost you're gonna have anyway. But now, like as part of, this is why some people just go open businesses for no reason. They're like, well, I have to have a phone, so I might as well write it off of my taxes by having a small business, right? So there are benefits there, but do not get into the habit of like, it doesn't matter because I need a write-off anyway. Like, right? Like, oh, this is just like a trap. This is the reason everybody gets a new truck at the end of the year, myself included. But make sure if you're gonna buy it anyway, don't use this as your excuse to just be honest with yourself. Is it just that you want the new truck or the new car? But don't say, I needed the tax write-off. You never really need to spend $60,000 or $80,000 on that vehicle, right? Okay, this is your best practices. My voice is like so gross right now. So let's go back where we started off. Cody, just do one and we'll just rapid fire it.
Gain clarity on your big why and plans for your future. In personal and business budgets.
Nicole.
I'm sorry. Open additional big accounts for taxes, expenses, and other savings.
Download and use MREA chart of accounts.
Who knows what MREA is? I keep referring to it. It's the book written by Gary Keller, like probably 30 years ago, millionaire real estate agent. It is full of it's a little dry. It's a dry read. I think you can like download the PDF for free probably. But it is so full of nuggets and things to think about and ways of doing things, okay? Where did we leave off, Alberto?
Hire an accountant, CPA, attorney, tax advisor.
We're back to you, Ashley.
Calculate and pay your estimated taxes.
Prepare for your future, insurance, savings, and investments. I know if you guys look at the training calendar, you're going to see a lot of classes. I think Shoni and Johnny have been teaching one that is like wealth related. And there's one that's for people who maybe have more liquidity, more money, that they're trying to learn how to invest wisely. And other people who maybe are just getting started that might be a little bit more like as far as budget. A great place to ask, how much should I set aside for my taxes? When I started, I think somebody just told me like 30%, just set aside 30%. And if you have too much, oh well, if you have not enough, oh well too, I guess. But better to have something saved, right? Alex, will you read this one?
You can actually rate is as rate does. What you do is
What's that mean to you guys?
So I mean, at my current job, I work at Best Buy. When
Mhm.
I got hired on.
That's where I know you from. Okay. I actually do think so. Huh? That MacBook's super old. It needs replaced, but yeah.
But like when I got there, I was just an occasional seasonal worker, like just on the sales floor. Now I'm the assistant manager in just 2 years, but it's because like I kind of acted that way. I always did my best every day and tried to be helpful for everyone else. And then the upper management saw that, and then they gave me all the raises and the jobs. So
Yeah. Who's heard of the concept be, do, have? Most people think it's have, do, be. If once I have $100,000 cash in my bank account, then I can do this. I can go buy myself all the things and then I'll be a successful real estate professional. That's the way people, that's the natural way to think about it, but the reality is once you become the successful real estate professional, even if it's just in your own mind, you're going to start doing the things that successful real estate professionals do, and then you're going to have the things that successful real estate agents have, right? So how you show up. Do you look like you're a professional? Do you talk like you're a professional? Do you have respect for yourself? Do you have respect for your time and your client's time? Potential client or actual client? Wrong direction, Sally. Okay, this is another one that if you'd come to a previous one, it's going to be your net income goal, but I want everyone to do that. I want everyone to write what's your net income goal for 2025. None of you guys have the book printed out, the Ignite book. Do you guys have it on your computers? These kids these days. Nope, you guys just don't have it. Oh yeah, like there's slides for like with fill in the blanks for you to write this stuff on. So you can like come back to it, but I'm sure Cameron will get, it's probably because of family reunion last week and stuff. No, that's okay. So once you write down your net income goal, this is where you're gonna add where's the whiteboard in this place? Is it behind there? Okay, so now you're gonna add 15% for what kind of number? Like, actually, you guys don't have to share this. I'm just thinking the cap is like once you meet the cap, it's not going to be that much. So I usually just add, like, assuming everybody's going to cap. What's your guys' cap? 18. So whatever you wrote down, put 18 on top of it. And now you're going to add 35% of that number. And that'll get you your total gross commission income. Tell me when you guys are there. And tell me if you need help with the math. I homeschool a 4th grader for math, so 0.35 times by 0.35 and then add it back to that other number. Oh yeah, 1 point math genius over here.
Calculator, if you have an iPhone, actually lets you put in like 30, type in the percentage.
Oh yeah. 18,000. So yeah, your net income goal plus 18,000, because these are all people that are going to cap here this year. And then times that by 1.35. Thank you to our math wizard here, Kabi. And then once you get that number, we're gonna divide it by an average commission. In Utah County, what's that?
12 grand-ish.
I was just gonna say, in Utah County, we're gonna say the average home median value is gonna be, or average will be just under 500 right now. And we're gonna go a little bit below that. We're just gonna play it real, like, let's go with $10,000. So now, just because that's a nice round number, if you divide it by 10, it's gonna tell you how many transactions you need to get to make that amount of money.
Goal, and then plus the company dollar, and then you're also adding the business expenses. And then after that, you divide by 10.
Yeah. What's your guys', you guys do, well, never mind. So you should get a number. Does anybody want to hear what number they got? Okay.
we dividing by the number 10 or dividing by 10,000?
Oh, sorry. Yes, 10,000. I just, that's a great question and I should have clarified.
Business expenses should be with the company dollar. World account.
So let's say if my goal is, let me see if I can just share my screen here. So let's say your goal is to make $65,000 from real estate this year, okay? So 65 plus 18,000, sorry. Then times by 1.35. So that is gonna give me 112. And now I'm gonna divide it by 10,000. Yes. So that tells me I need to sell 11 homes, about 11.205, in order to get that take-home pay of $65,000. Granted, a lot of your guys' initial expenses are not going to be as high, in my opinion, your first year. There are things there's a lot of ways to. So if anybody wants help with that math on their own, because there's power in knowing, like if I want to do 11 deals, like I said, backtracking, if my goal is to do 11 deals this year, I can do some simple math on how many appointments, get that to how many appointments do I need to set this week? How many calls does it take me? How many conversations does it take me to set one appointment? I should be able to know exactly what I need to do today to get that income goal and follow that to a T. Okay. Command opportunities. I don't know anything about that. Any ahas you guys are having? Are you all overwhelmed? Adrian looks so overwhelmed right now.
Well, so I was talking to Cameron 2 weeks ago. He said the average, I guess, the average amount of homes an agent sells a year is 4. So it just puts into perspective a lot more than the average.
And it depends on your goals, right? But 4 deals a year. This is like, if you guys ever want to hear me rail and just like not like let something die for hours and hours on end, get me talking about hobby real estate agents, okay? People that only do 4 transactions a year, explain to me how they're even able to stay relevant for their clients. If I only did 4 transactions last year, how am I even an expert to service my clients today, right? Most like, there are different goals that people have, and some people like are able to use their real estate license for things that aren't that traditional residential home sales. However, if that is your goal, and this is a little bit the line of thinking, I was in Ignite with the intention that I would probably just do 4 or 5 homes a year until my youngest child was in school full time. And she was 2. So I thought, oh, for the first 3, by the time she's in school, I'll know what I'm doing and I'll be able to like jump in full time because I'll have done these onesie twosie deals. And I just sat there and realized, you know what? Do I really want to suck as an agent for 3 years, or do I want to learn fast? I chose learning fast because I wanted to be able to confidently give my value proposition. Look, I've done this lots, so I can help you navigate the process, and truly I know how to make it be a smooth process. And that's because in my first year, I got right going. I started in March, and by December I did 14 transactions. So it's not like, well, we can get into that. That's like all in the other things. But the point is, at first my big why was just not wanting to suck. Like I was like, I actually didn't, like, it doesn't take a lot of closings to buy American Girl dolls. Remember that was my first why of like, I wanted to be able to buy what I wanted for my kids for Christmas. And then my second big why was like, honestly, I can't look somebody in the face and tell them I'm the best choice unless I truly believe that. And then unless I truly gain the experience to become that. So I'm going to become that. And then my goal was my husband hates his job. I would love for him to have a choice. And so then that next year it was like, I need to take home $100,000 so my husband can quit his job. And so it grows, right? I don't know how I got on that. Okay. Any other ahas about your money?
Question how I brought up. So going off what you said, what do you think makes the average for house? Would you say majority of agents are just hobby agents, or would you say it's not as, or is it more challenging than people think? Like what would make the average for?
Well, the reality is I don't know what this exact statistic is anymore, but I want to say 60% of agents that don't get licensed don't renew their license. Okay.
Closer to 90.
90.
Shoni was telling me it's almost 90% Utah.
Okay, so you've got a lot of agents that they don't even do a deal, bringing that average down. It's the 80-20 rule applies so many places, right? They call it the Pareto rule because it was some economist in like the hundreds, or I don't know, in the medieval times. It's not really then, I just don't know. He like observed wealth that 20% of the people in this country held the wealth. He was studying like England, and then it like was in all these, it was exactly the same. Well, in real estate, 20% of the agents are doing 80% of the business. So the reason that number is so low is because 80% of the agents are only divide that up into 20% of what's left over. So that's the conversation of that drove me to adjust my goals when I was in Ignite. It was like, oh, not to foster an all or nothing mentality, but it is like, do you want to be in the 80% that's fighting over 20% of the market? Or do you want to be in the 20% that's competing for the 80% of the market? So there's just a lot of people out there that got their license to sell their own house. And that's the only, and maybe they'll do something with it later, sort of a thing. Or a lot of people that have had their license forever. It's kind of fun. Like my neighborhood, there was this woman that everybody, like, because she's been an agent a long time, they were like, oh yeah, well, she's great. She does all the business around here. I've looked her up ever since I've been a real estate agent. She has never done more than 6 transactions in a year, ever. And yet there's this mentality that she's like, does all the business in my neighborhood. And it's just like, no, like she did 5 houses in this neighborhood over 5 years, but she's like, sometimes just having staying power gives you an edge in people's minds too, right? Questions? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
All right, whoa, how slow are we? Okay, I think this is the end, guys. Maybe. So this is if you've never been to Ignite or you haven't seen it a lot, you want to have a daily number of contacts that you're making. A day, a week. What are your habits? This is all part of what are you doing to become the successful real estate agent that you want to become? So a really common thing is, are you having 10 conversations a day about real estate? 10 conversations. If you're not used to talking about real estate, that's hard, right? Adding contacts to your database, being organized. Who's got their database uploaded into Command already? We've got that. No one else? Yes, okay, awesome. Database is where the magic happens. If you want to figure out how to start having conversations about real estate, 10 a day, you got to know who to call first. And there's a better way than to just like pull out your phone and scroll through and be like, oh, okay. You want to actually take good notes on what was discussed, how, like, did they go into what their real estate goals are? You guys are at like the perfect opportunity. You get to, all you have to do is share, I got my real estate license and these are my goals with that. All of a sudden, they're going to want to share what their goals are. And usually having a home or maybe investing in real estate it's part of most people's goals, even if it's 5 years down the road. They envision themselves buying a house one day. Do they know that it might be in their reach a lot sooner than they think? Do they know the benefits of pushing for it even a year faster? Like, you have the opportunity, you're going to know things that are valuable. Okay. So having, like, this is Cameron right now for everybody, right? Does everybody feel comfortable, like, having an accountability partner? And most important, do you feel like you're accountable to yourself? Bringing it back to, this is our third time covering. We've now hit 3 of the 6 personal perspectives. Be accountable versus victim mentality over there. This is something I think everybody struggles with at one time or another, but accountability comes from within. Accountability partners, in my mind, are for when you need that extra little push to get over a hump or a struggle. But the best accountability is going to be to yourself at the highest level. Okay, so so I guess Cameron's not your accountability partner, but he is. He's gonna, if you say, hey, Cameron, I need you to hold me accountable that I get this task done this week, right? You can have a ton of accountability partners. You can find a mentor. KW Maps coaching, when you have the budget for it, is an awesome opportunity as well. Oh, what time is it, guys? We're gonna end at 11. I think we're supposed to go till 11:30, but I don't want to. Do you guys want to? Okay. Read the one thing. If you haven't read the MREA, read that first, but then read the one thing. Who uses a calendar? Adrian, you don't use a calendar?
Look at it. Plan my day.
Mhm.
No, typically it's morning plan for me.
Because you're in school. So you're like, my calendar is my classes. Yeah. So a little hack that I did not come up with, but has really helped me in my ADHD life. To-do lists can't exist for me anymore. My to-do list is just like you put oh, I need to do that. Instead of putting it on my to-do list, I just put it on my calendar. When can I do that? No, go ahead.
My calendar is my phone calendar,
Mhm.
not an actual physical one, but I like that.
I think that's best. Yeah.
I like that they've added where you can do reminders, because then it kind of pops up on your lock screen all day.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of when it's just on my calendar, I kind of look at it at the beginning and then forget about it later.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that.
Yeah. I mean, finding what works for you. Notifications, use all the hacks. I think a paper calendar, some people have a hard time getting away from a paper calendar, but once you're getting like meeting invites, or you have an administrative assistant that you want to help like with your calendar, it's really hard to do that on paper, right? You need an electronic system. One of the Kennedy Group team standards is Sunday night or Monday morning, you time block your week for your 20% activities. Screenshot and send it to me, actually. Like, the power of a calendar, like Gary Keller says, I'm so bad at like that. I'm always like, this is what he says, but I can't remember. He says, it's not about selling real estate, it's about following your calendar. So calendaring out, it's sometimes like those 20% activities that are going to be income producing activities. Those aren't the squeakiest wheels in your life, but they're the ones that are going to have the biggest impact on your life, right? And on your goals. Any ahas? Ahas. Okay. All right, plan for learning. Learn more about your market. Does anybody know what the average days on market is right now? Okay. I think, I think the last time I looked was like 48. This isn't a typical week for me because of family reunion last week, but most weeks I start on Monday morning with a pretty deep dive into the market. Becca Summers, she always deep dives into the market when's the last time you looked at the MLS? And just for market stats? Like this morning? Yesterday? Yeah. I was just gonna say, I do it it's weird that I haven't yet this week. But just by going and getting in the habit of like looking at the market, what's new on the market, how many listings are on the market, what's the days on market, other little things that we can look at, like I could show you later, or better yet, Becca, she's freaking genius at that stuff. So this is all the classes that you can get. I actually looked at this last night and I was like, there's definitely more. You can just at the brokerage level, there's so many classes, there's so much education you can spend your time on. Do you guys have a class in here, Becca? At 11? Yeah. Okay, well, I thought this was supposed to go to 11:30 and I just told them we were gonna end at 11, so yeah. Now they're not gonna wanna share ahas because people are here. Okay, so, I think that I skipped over the one thing. Basically, you're gonna wanna have like a learning plan of when you get through. Is everybody starting back over Ignite next week with Cameron? Because you guys all kind of, who started the earliest? Seems like we're going over things you're hearing for the first time for the most part. It's your first one, literally. Okay. Okay. So starting over with Ignite to go deeper dive into all those things that we're just summarizing today is going to be really, really important. And I want to know how many slides I'm skipping. That's the end. Okay.